Yeah, one of the other things that's mentioned in the whereas clauses of this concurrent resolution is the problem of unfunded mandates. And of course, there is already legislation that's supposed to come back on unfunded mandates. I suppose you could take that legislation and elevate it to the status of a constitutional amendment.
I got about every other word of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say that one of the whereas clauses in this proposed concurrent resolution talks about the problem of unfunded mandates. And in fact, there is an existing statute, act of Congress, that is meant to limit unfunded mandates, but apparently the way it's written, it has enough exceptions built in that it hasn't been particularly effective. So, my natural curiosity would be, are these paper limitations really ultimately accomplishing what the intended objective is?
I read the resolution over once quickly. I didn't catch that phrase. I did notice that the Convention State Project provided a sample resolution to sponsors for them to use as guidance in writing their legislation, which is a function that ALEC provides also. Not with us, but they're pretty popular among conservative legislators. Their training function as much as anything else, teaching them how to write legislation, not just what the political views will be in it, but dotting the I and crossing the T.
Right. Do you know, is this concurrent resolution, is it sort of a model that this group has come up with?
It's not to my liking, because they took out the heart of it, which would have been term limits. Term limits was in the model that Joe provided, and the sponsors took it out because they didn't think this committee would pass it. Did that 2 years ago too.
Oh, very interesting, very interesting. So I hand over here, yes, sir. Thank you.
I'd like to clarify the process. Let's assume we have the convention and say one or two amendments get the 3/4 vote. Do those go back to the voters of each state to vote on or not?
They do not. They do not.
And is there any, my potential danger that I could see is, if you bring up, like changing, rights or, environmental things or stuff like that. Say you do that with the intention of strengthening those rights, but it seems like it could be just as easy to adopt amendments or have amendments voted on that strip those back even further. So where you go into it with the intent to, codify against Citizens United and stuff, you could end up adopting a resolution that's completely opposite of what's intended.
Yes, yes, and it also brings up our discussion, this idea of how much current federal legislation is based on the so-called commerce power. Putting limits on that power really does open quite a wide host of topics. Environmental regulation, anti-discrimination laws, criminal offenses, virtually all the federal criminal code rests on the Commerce Clause. Things like laws against pornography and possession of contraband, possession of controlled substances, all that rests on the Commerce Clause. You have quite a long list of subjects that would have to be taken up if one were to contemplate addressing them specifically. Yes, sir.
If we move forward and you have a resolution where a ballot study is required, it's going to create some significant problems at the state level. Because the federal dollars would stop flowing to the state levels, and where do those dollars then come from? And what is the impact on state constitutions?
Yes, it's a good question. I mean, particularly when you think about programs like Medicaid, where 80% of the spending comes from the federal government. And last I heard, in the typical average state, 20% of the state's expenditures are actually federal Medicaid dollars, which is a big chunk.
Could you repeat the question that we heard your answer, but we didn't hear his?
Actually, would you repeat it?
My question if, for example, they come up with a balanced budget requirement, what happens to the state budgets, since so much of the federal dollars flow down to the states? And so I think we could take a look at one level, but unless we know what the second, third, fourth domino effect is, we really don't know what the impact's gonna be until it happens.
Already happened.
And then what do we do? We would have to make up the taxes ourselves. And are we ready to do that? Especially in Iowa, because we get so much more back for each dollar we put in.
Thank you.
Article 5 details the means by which the Constitution might be amended, but if this prospect of the Constitutional Convention is so fraught, have there been discussions about changing that rationale? I mean, our country, the demographics, the population distribution has changed so much since Article 5 was drafted.
Yes,
Is there consideration about changing the rules in that sense?
right, the amending process.
That's right,
It's a
in
very
a
good question.
circular argument.
It's true, and of course, the interesting thing about Article 5 is that as originally drafted, and I don't have my Constitution here with me, but it did. It did have that infamous clause that says the Constitution could not be amended to outlaw slavery earlier than 1808. I think I'm trying to read this right. So in that respect, it was unamendable. But in every other respect, including the process for amending it, I don't see why you couldn't amend the amending process. And, it's interesting because there certainly there are grounds for arguing or thinking about whether the current process is, number one, anti-democratic. Number two, maybe it is too hard to amend the Constitution. I mean, maybe it's too hard, but at the same time too easy, in the sense that the whole setup is voting by states. But I haven't heard any discussion. Yes, sir, in the back.
When you look historically, is this kind of thinking about constitutional conventions and so forth tend to come up during times of populism, like 1890s,
Right.
William Jennings Bryan? Did they have similar kinds of initiatives or movements?
My impression is that there's kind of been a steady stream of certainly proposals to amend the Constitution. But I think that you're right, that I'm sure there's some cycle that prompts thoughts about amending the Constitution. And I think, there are a lot of features of this time that make it more likely for it to actually happen than it would be during sort of a quiescent time when we felt like the government we have is more or less functional.
Right, exactly. And that's, by my druthers, I'd rather see a Congress that was functional and have them deliberate sort of away from the maddening crowd. But that's the frustration people feel, that it's not.
Yeah, indeed, and particularly to the extent that they feel like their votes don't really count for anything as much as dollars count. I think you do get that sense of we need to change something. So,
What I thought was interesting, and it goes to the gentleman's statements, on the resolution that Idaho had, it mentions about a dozen states.
yes,
And
yes.
if you go into those state legislatures archives, and I did for North Dakota and another one, the resolutions are eerily similar, with the exception of some specifics in a particular state, but there's whole sections that are almost cut and pasted in there. And one of them is that section that specifically says that Idaho and those other states will not be a party to touching any of the Bill of Rights, any of the first 10 amendments, changing them, altering them, removing them, or however, that they can't touch them.
Yeah, that's a
Which
very
I thought was
interesting.
interesting also, because, obviously, reasons, Second Amendment, no.
Yeah, I wondered about that as well. What Murph's referring to is the fact that there's language saying Idaho joins the legislatures have then lists, by my count, 12 other states that apparently made similar applications, which led me to wonder whether this was something off the shelf from some organization that was being circulated around.
Now, Idaho passed one resolution in '79, and they stayed active until the early 2000s. I don't know what that one was about. Do you recall that one? Do you remember
No.
seen any?
About a convention of the states?
Yeah, they called for it in '79.
Yeah, I read that.
And then passed?
It passed the states, it passed Idaho, and it was active until 2003, I think. Then it was rescinded.
Oh, very interesting.
From this sheet that they had in the back, in the 1970s and 1980s, many states adopted resolutions calling for a constitutional convention, including Idaho. About half of these states later rescinded their applications. In 2001, Idaho rescinded its application from 1979.
To show the subject?
It doesn't say, no.